Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Mike and you're watching Triple T Acres, and in today's video we're going to be doing an oil change on my mower. Now the engine that we're going to be doing it on is the Kawasaki FR691V, which is a very common engine that they are putting on mowers. So for example, Exmark, Toro, John Deere, Husqvarna, Hustler, you name it, this engine is on many makes and models, so this is going to apply to a lot of you mower owners out there. I'm going to show you the entire process, how easy it is. So if you're someone who wants to do your own oil change, your own maintenance on your Kawasaki motor, this video is for you. Before we get started, I want to show you what kind of oil and filter you're going to need for this job. Now, most engine companies will always recommend their engine oil, and I'm going to do just that. What I have here is the Kawasaki 10W40 oil, and you're going to need about 2.2 quarts. And I have a filter here, and this is Kawasaki's filter, and the part number for that is 49065-0721. Now, I'll have links in the description for all of this on Amazon. They're going to be affiliate links, which means I'll get a little bit of commission if you use them, but it shouldn't cost you any more, so that'll be down there for your convenience. Another thing I have here is my owner's manual, so everything that I'm going to give you is going to be accurate for this specific motor. Now, it says you need to change your oil about every 100 hours or every year. I like to do it at the beginning of the season to make sure I've got some fresh oil in there for the season. Now, the oil filter is not something that you need to do every 100 hours or every year. It says you need to do it every 200 hours. But I think it's a good practice that every time you change your oil, just change your filter while you're at it. It's not a whole lot more, and I think it's just a little bit more peace of mind. Now, it also says here in the owner's manual that if you are not changing the filter, that the capacity is going to be 1.9 US quarts or 1.8 liters. Now, when you do use the oil filter, it is 2.1 liters or 2.2 US quarts. I have found that 2 quarts is just fine. At the end, we'll check the dipstick and make sure all that is it. But I actually have a little bit of leftover oil from the last oil change because I bought 3 quarts and have a little bit left over to add just in case. But nonetheless, that's all that we're gonna need for this oil change. I'm gonna get some of the tools that you're gonna need. It's not very much, it's a super easy oil change. So let's get right to it. So I always like to stick something under the oil drain just in case anything kind of leaks over. I want to make sure I protect my concrete floor. Towards the front on the right hand side, you have your oil filter here, and right below it, right here, is the drain. And what's nice is they got this cutout here in the frame, and then there's an elbow that's facing down that helps the oil get directed straight down. Now, I've seen some of these have hoses come off of it and they run towards the back, but this one right here, I just loosen this bolt right here and then it starts to drain right out the bottom. And this is what it looks like on the underside. If you look right up there, there's that opening, and then the elbow sticks below it. So that oil is going to run straight down right here into my pan. Another thing I like to do is I like to take the dipstick out, and this allows any negative pressure in there, so it allows it to drain right out. Another important thing to remember when you're doing your oil change is that you warm the motor up. You want everything to be operating temperature, not so hot that the oil will burn your hands, but just enough that the oil will be nice and smooth and run out. But right here is where we're going to loosen it. I just have a pair of pliers here, and it almost feels just hand tight. Let's see if we can just twist it with our fingers. Now, you don't want to twist it all the way out because then it'll start coming out this end here. Yep, we are draining. Let me let you see what it looks like underneath. There it is, draining right there. Now it looks like it runs over some of the stuff underneath here, but that's not a big deal. We'll be able to wipe all that off when we're finished. I'm gonna let this drain out and then we'll get to the filter. All right, so the oil's all drained out. Now I'm going to loosen up the filter here. I'm gonna try to do it with my hand. If not, I've got a filter wrench here. Got my drain pan underneath to hopefully catch any of this. All right, so it looks like I'm gonna need my wrench here. That wasn't bad at all. These wrenches are really nice. I'll put a link to one of these in the description too. Super handy. All right. Now there wasn't a whole lot of oil that came out of that, but I still want to get my rag in there and wipe it all out. Now we're going to go ahead and put the other oil filter on. Again, here's the filter, and then if you want to take a screenshot of the part number, it is right there. Now, something that's really important to pay attention to is this rubber gasket around the edge. Make sure that the filter that you took off hasn't left the ring on the motor. You don't want to accidentally double stack these rings, because then you'll have an oil leak likely. Screw this thing right back on, and it should spin really easily. If it's not spinning easily, you're cross-threading. Yeah, that's going on nice and easy. This is something you do just want to go hand tight with. Good and snug though. All right, that's nice and tight. Now I'm going to screw in the drain plug here. Now, something I found out while I was doing this is you can actually use a really short screwdriver. It looks like it'll take a flathead or a Phillips in there. But again, you don't have to crank this down. All right, that should be good and snug. Now all we gotta do is add our oil back. Get our funnel here. And again, this is 2.2 quarts if you're doing a filter, and 1.9 US quarts if you're not doing a filter. But again, I highly recommend doing a filter every time you do an oil change. Now I'm filling it up. It's the same place that you pull the dipstick out is the same place that you're going to add your oil. After I get both these quarts in here, before I add any more engine oil, I'm going to go ahead and fire the motor up, make sure that there's no oil leaks, and then test the oil level on my dipstick and see if I need to add any more after that. All right, there's 2. Now, before I pull my pan out of here, I want to wipe off some of that engine oil that leaked over the edges of stuff. Not a big mess, but I still don't want a bunch of dirt getting on there. All right, that's good enough. Get this thing fired up and check for any leaks. I don't see any leaks. We didn't find any leaks, but let's go ahead and check our oil level here. We'll wipe it off, go right back in. Right back out. Where are we at here? Looks like we are full. Perfect. I don't even need to add any more to it. All right, that's the oil change, but one more thing I like to do after doing my oil change is I like to blow out my filter here. Now, there is just a little thumb screw here. You loosen this up, and then it will loosen this band that's around the filter here. So we'll get that nice and loose, and then we'll pull that off. All right. It looks pretty dirty. Let's get that blown out. As you can see here, look how dirty this thing is. So let's get that sprayed out and get it back in the engine. All right, we got the filter all cleaned out. Now we'll get it all lined back up in here. And this is that thumb screw I was talking about. I don't know if you could see that, but they make it very easy to do your maintenance on this. All right, that's nice and snug. Good to go. Well, that's it, a complete oil change on the Kawasaki FR691V, ready for another season or another 100 hours before you got to do it again. And guys, I hope that this video encourages you to try it yourself, and I hope that you got something out of it. And if you did, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. But until next time, we'll see you in the next video.